webinar series hosted by Managed Center for Innovation and Agripreneurship. So myself, Dr. Rahalya, I'm working as a Managed Fellow. So before going to the session, let me give a short introduction about our center. So Managed Center for Innovation and Agripreneurship is recognized as a center of excellence in agribusiness incubation and acts as a knowledge partner in order to strengthen, guide, and demonstrate the best practices for agribusiness incubators operating under the esteemed National Institute of Agriculture Extension Management. With a robust track record, our center has nurtured 754 entrepreneurs and supported over 425 startups across various sectors within the agriculture domain. We navigate innovation from ideation to full-scale commercialization with our unique methodology that gives a robust ecosystem from discovering ideas to delivering high-value proposition in a sustainable environment. We pride ourselves on our comprehensive support system, offering guidance and training to startups in crucial areas such as agro-processing, post-harvest technologies, value addition, farm mechanization, animal husbandry, fishery, dairy, commodity trading, supply chain management, and consultancy. Our commitment to the success of agripreneurs knows no bounds as we continue to refine their concepts and empower them to expand their features. So today's webinar, we are going to talk about managing sustainability of agri-startups. So we have two speakers with us, and to introduce our first speaker, let me invite my colleague Pragya to introduce our first speaker.
Yes, thank you, Rahalya. Good morning, everyone. I am Pragya Mishra, working as Business Executive at Managed CIA, and we'll start with our first speaker for today's session. She is Miss Shyama Jha, ma'am. She is the founder and managing director at SJR Consulting Private Limited and Millet Magic Foundation. Ms. Shyama has 24 years of experience in corporate telecom to insurance and jewelry and retail, and she has been a part of Nexus Groups of Mall as marketing head. She is currently building their own food brand, Wow Mom Foods, and a handicraft brand, Hastreng, with a corporate office in Noida. Through their foundation, they are focused on creating robust and resilient value chains at the grassroots level by establishing food processing plants near farmlands, enabling farming families to build world-class brands. Additionally, they are developing farmer-producer companies to organize the largely unorganized farming sector. So I welcome you, ma'am, to our session, and I hand over the session to you now.
Thank you so much, Pragya, and really happy to be part of such a good session, which you are already carrying it for so long. And what I feel that such kind of sessions are actually needed for the budding as well as the ongoing agripreneurs. So I'll just share my PPT is visible.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
It's visible. Okay. I think something is overlapping. Anyways, I'll start. So as Pragya has already given a very great introduction of me, but what I would add up is my journey as an agripreneur, as a milletpreneur, which was very exciting. So here with sustainability, when we are talking about sustainability of agri startups, my journey will definitely help exemplifying what sustainability of agri startup has to be, how it can be, and how these agri startups can be sustainable, what all they can do. So going ahead with my introduction, I am Shyama Jha, and Millet Magic Foundation is my most loved baby, which I can say. And we formed it about 3.5 years back. And that was actually a thing which, when formed, I felt that it is going to be a very good journey for me. It was a good journey, but very adventurous. So with this presentation, I'll take you through that. So if we talk about, let's come back to the topic. If we talk about the agri startups and the sustainability. So first, let's understand what are the types of agri startups we generally see. In a broad spectrum, one is the sector of agriculture where startups are, that is pure agriculture. Basically, you are into the agriculture, you are farming, you are into farming, you are helping with the crop yield. Organic farming is again a good thing going on. And then the innovative farming, where we are getting into different kind of products which are more better than the initial ones, the hybrid ones. So that comes under the as an agriculture startup. Second, very important, very nice startup section in agriculture, which is the agri-tech one, where we provide the solutions to the agriculture, the general farming section, like drone is going very good these days. Then you have those different kind of innovative things, machines which can be used in agriculture. And the next very important factor which I feel in agriculture, where we as Indians are lagging behind, and which when done can take us back to we being the Sone ki chidiya, what India used to be, the golden bird. So that is one sector where we feel that, where I feel that lots of work need to be done. And food processing, once the food processing startups increase, then we will see that how the complete agriculture startup and scenario and the sustainability actually comes into being in a very big scale. So when I talk about me as Millet Magic Foundation and SGR Consulting Private Limited, we are into all three together. But my major expertise comes into food processing part, because I felt that that is the sector which, when taken care of, can be a complete solution for the entire agri startups. So yeah. Next, what I wanted to define was sustainability for agri startup. So when we talk about sustainability, now here nowadays we talk a lot about sustainability, and especially in our organization, we believe only and only in resilient sustainability. So here we can define the sustainability for agri startup in different sections. Like, you have to be inclusive when we want to be an agri startup. We can't just think of a product or a sector or a machine or maybe one agri commodity you can take into account. Agri startup has to be inclusive in nature. That is, you have to think of the farmer, you have to think of the farming, even if you are into processing. If you are into as an agriculture, you have to think of processed food. And if you are an agri tech startup, then also you have to think about processed food as well as the agriculture farming. So it has to be an inclusive model whenever we talk about the agri startup. And mind it, I feel that none of the startup section, be it tech, be it any other education sector, whatever it is, but the vastness of agri startups are much beyond than any other sector right now. And we need to work more and more towards making it more organized, which is not there. And that's why we are agri startups are yet in a very general category. It has not gone into a very excelled category of startups. So this is the first thing. Second, we can't go without thinking climate friendly solutions, being agri startup. Health conscious is again an important thing. Right now, last 4-5 years has given it complete thought, where we have to think of health when we are into agriculture or any sector where we are discussing food. Market adaptive you have to be. You can't think that I'll put this product and this can go just because this is a food product. We have to see what customer want, and it has to be less, we need to be less emotional, because I like it, I think that everybody will like it. No, not possible. And more vocal. I meant by more vocal is be more market friendly, more marketing options, which we agri startup hardly think on those aspects. That marketing is one thing which is very, very important when we think of any startup, but agriculture, definitely we need to do it. Nobody will eat anything if you think marketing is not done, because nowadays the food giant, the companies, FMCG companies are doing huge to sell anything. So if you want to change it, you have to be vocal. So I feel, to be sustainability in agri sector, these few points are a must, and every startup should take into account to make themselves sustainable. So going beyond this, I don't know yeah. So now as I said, we will be talking about me and my organization more because this is the best thing which I am talking about. And we have already been doing all about these sustainability factor in agri sector since last 3-4 years. And being a marketeer by profession, I have always felt that till the time you don't make anything which a consumer picks it up, you have to go beyond your emotions and make it consumer driven. And at the same time, you have to keep the emotions of the farming fraternity, who are the root cause of behind the agriculture. So here I am showing you a small cycle of how agri startups can be a sustainable when you have to create a complete cycle of it. That is starting from farmer training. As I said, even if you are in food processing, you have to think about the farmers, because what you need is what they will give you, and they will give you only when they have a good training. You have to have a food processing unit up, even wherever you have. You are putting it in a weirdest of the places in the forest area, but the food processing unit should be a world class, because you are producing the product which should go into the main market. And then only sustainability can be achieved when you have masses of people eating it. Third, inside the food processing unit, the training of people, whether you are using a general villagers, they had to be taught what does QC means. And last but not the least, very close to me, the marketing, the presentability, the brand. These 4 things you have to keep it, and you have to go very aggressively into the market, and you have to create an innovative value for money and a product which actually can hit people very hard. So that these are the things which can create a sustainability in whatever sector in agriculture you are working on. Definitely the agri-tech part, if we talk about, you will say that it's machines. How does the product influence the outside market, the end consumer? But your consumer over there will be the farmers. Again, the same thing come up. Why would a farmer take your machines or use your drone or use your solar sector or whatever you are having it? Because to make farmers shift from whatever they are using into the other thing is a very, very difficult thing. So when we are talking about sustainability, it simply means that the whatever you are doing, it should go a long run. You should have at least a 50, 70, 80 years plan where the business shows that it is going to be beyond just a product, but completely a solution to the ecosystem as a whole. So whenever there is any product, whenever we talk about agri startup, product plays a very important role in that. And the cycle, complete ecosystem that you are touching in is again a very important thing. So as we were discussing being inclusive, what does being inclusive means? I am into food processing, but for me, training farmers, giving them the details what we want and how we can make our products go into the market, as well as the raw material supply is always there. I have to be very, very farmers friendly and make them believe that whatever we take will be on a regular basis, and then only the ecosystem, the farmer ecosystem will move. As I said in the initial time, this is a very, very, very touchy aspect, because where we are dealing with a raw material provider section who are not very convenient to understand that in an industry, what does raw material mean? And if you are directly into agriculture and you are into farming of the food products, then also you have to deal with farmers, then also you have to understand their emotions and what they have been doing till now. So overall, as I was saying, that we are right now in agri, as an agri startup, we deal with a very, very sensitive sector, that is the farmers. And to make them change and do what we want and trust us is a big task, and that can only be achieved if we make them inclusive. That is, be part of your entire system. So we keep doing lots of things for that, and somewhere we have someday a detailed thought, then we can share that. Next is climate friendly. Agriculture can't go agriculture, agri-sector, agri-startup can't go without being climate friendly. We did this mistake long since the thing started. Green revolution was a very, very good thing for us, but actually the distortion which happened with green revolution, the use of fertilizers, the unnecessary use of water, without understanding the water table, without understanding the scenario of that place where we are again trying to go for rice or wheat, where the soil is not that much good for that kind of product, was the biggest mistake. So for being an agri startup and to make it sustainable, we have to be very, very climate friendly. We have to love the soil. We have to understand the environment. We have to make our farmers also understand what is actually in today's date needed. Even for a product, a smallest product like rice, which we say that it's like every farmer's household thing. But when you go and see how farmers actually are using the different kind of chemicals without knowing what they are doing. So that is a sensitive part which we should always, an agri startup, look into that part, because only when farmers grow good things, our end products will be good and we can create a better sustainability models for us. Besides that, teaching, skilling the rural masses. When we are talking about agri startups, what is the major thing which I hear everywhere is that how to train those rural people, the farmers, into a very much organized sector. Let me tell you, I have been working with the most difficult part of the people in the most difficult area, that is Orissa, and that too I'm working with the tribals, that too in a very interior part of Orissa. Most of them don't know how to read and write, and mostly they are women. But after a year, I felt that, okay, this is the lot who go out and work in factories in different part of the country. We are just going to them and training them. So it's not difficult. It can take a bit of time, 6 months to 1 year. But once you train them, you get a very, very loyal manpower. There is retention 80 to 90% and you go good. So just skilling is the thing which you have to go as like you can't skill them thinking that they are educated. You have to think them, train them in a very, very generic way. Like they learn the agriculture part, the sowing of the seed, in the same way you have to make them learn how to use the machines. And let me tell you right now, my factory is 70% women oriented, and we have supervisor level ladies who are working on the noodle and baking unit. So you can understand, without learning, without having any knowledge of hospitality industry, they are working on the food, processed food factory. But best part about this thing is that 3 years and I have complete loyalty. My retention is attrition is hardly 2 to 3%. And when you start thinking of it, in this slide, I want to show how it was not an easy thing, but going one step at a time, from making them understand why we have come to their area, why we are entering into an area where farmers feel that they are secured. So when we are entering into their sector, we are trying to make them understand that how they can also go big, and slowly and steadily we can do it. And now what I feel that I don't need to work towards the fact that how would my factory run, because it is already a very much secured system. Now I don't need to think of why the farmers, how to convince farmer to grow millet. They have already started growing it and they are convincing others to grow it. And the families feel that they should work in factory because additional income is coming to them. So I am not only creating a sustainable agri startup business for me, but I am creating a complete ecosystem where economic growth is happening, and every family is getting a sustainable income, because now factory is running and it's not going to shut down or go anywhere in the near vicinity. But above all these things, it's important to have a very, very robust market system, without which agri startup sustainability is a very, very difficult aspects to think about. So Yeah. And as I said, in agri startup, you can't think one product, one commodity, one thing. If you want to make your thing sustainable, you have to go 360. You have a bit of agriculture in you, you have a bit of agri-tech in you, you have a bit of food processing in you. Why food processing? You think, I want to go into the vegetable business. I will just grow vegetable and sell it somewhere. Okay, you will sell it. But what about the surplus? What will you do of the surplus? If you will start losing on surplus what you have grown, you will die down. So it's important to think of the surplus and keep an option of processing the agriculture product so that the shelf life increases. And once you have a shelf life system with you, you know that you have more time to reach the market and make them understand why your product is important. Even and you don't always think of, okay, मेरे पास 5 दिन का shelf life है, 7 days का shelf life है, or 15 or 6 months का shelf life है. You can keep converting it into better shelf lives so that your products can be divided into different parts. It can be a completely agriculture product, that is the grain. Then comes the flour. Then if you process it, it can get into the snacks and cookies sections. Or whatever you want to make it, for which shelf life can go to 6 to 9 months. So these are the things you should always consider in an agri startup for making your business very robust and to make it sustainable. What I have seen that most of the people lose their interest just because of these factors, that shelf life nahi hai, mera product barbad ho raha hai, I'm not able to go beyond it. And I'm not able to do anything to save it. So you start losing, and there it starts moving up. So to make it sustainable, small things are important, which we should always consider it, and we should take it into account. And as I said, it's important how you showcase your product into market. हम ये नहीं सोच सकते हमने rice उगाया, we have grains, we have millet, so I can package it anywhere and all the customers will like it. Today's day is all about showcasing. It's important how to showcase your brand. It's important how you talk about your products. It's important how you go to the customer and show small things which actually impresses them. Like here we have Mr. Millet. This is our mascot who keeps talking about millet always and how millet is useful for people. And next is the product category where all our products, be it of millet, taste wise, we make it a point that people like it. Because if people don't like taste, today's consumer don't like taste, they will start rejecting it. We can't be emotional about it. Ki millet hai to khana padega. Nobody will eat it. Or hardly 10, 15%, 20, 40% will eat it, but your things will not be solved because of that. So it's important to make any business sustainable, and especially in the agriculture sector, that we take care of what we are making without getting emotional about it. Market friendly, market ready, consumer friendly, and look and feel wise, it should be something which is very, very adaptable to the current market and which can move. And definitely, again, in agri sector, very important thing is the margins that you are keeping it. Margins has to be good enough that you can sustain in the current market. That is very, very important. So from production to the last thing, for every section of the agri startup I talked about, and if you see us as a holistic way, the Millet Magic Foundation, we very much look into our first consumer, first bit of people who are attached to us, that is our farmers. We make it a point that our farmers and their families are working in our processing plant so that their income source is very much intact and they start trusting us and they do how and what is required for our unit. And beyond that, we make it a point that our consumer is our God. We have to do everything to impress them. So both the section, the starting point, the farm and the folk has to be taken care of if we are an agri startup. And to make it sustainability, you have to be aggressive. You have to go beyond emotions. You have to be climate friendly. You need to have a healthy product. You again need to match to the unhealthy products which are there in the market and yet keep going. So if you are an agri startup, be ready for not just being a startup, but to be a changer, an environment changer, a climate changer, like eating habit changer. So you have to be like that. So that's the way we feel, that's the way I and Millet Magic feel about being an agri startup and to how to make it sustainable. This slide is not. And as I said in the beginning, what we actually dote upon, and this has helped us, again, it's part of one of our sustainability thing, is we have 60% women workforce and that to tribal women. And that's why our attrition rates are hardly any. These ladies are doing best to make themselves more visible, more active. They are ready to do anything, whatever we say, to reach a higher level. And that's why my focus on manpower does not rattle me, because I know my manpower, which is again a very big problem in the agri sector, manpower nahi milta hai. But I am blessed and I feel that everybody should look into that aspect. Go near the farming land, do your business over there, convert your farmer's family into your as your resilient manpower, and you'll see initially it will be a problem, but after that it will be a blessing in disguise. And best thing about us right now is that now being an agri startup, now we are already developing agri entrepreneurs in the rural area. Now if you see over here, we have about 2000 plus ladies who have taken training, and right now about 200 odd people who are taking their final level training, where they will be becoming, by end of this year, they will be becoming agripreneurs, the entrepreneurs who will be having their own enterprises, who will be having their own products, putting it into the market. So as an agri startup, what I feel that we not only help ourselves to become a startup, we also create lots of small units which can be made sustainable if we keep moving the way we are moving, keeping every aspect of the agri-business in mind. And these things actually not only just create a sustainable model, but also gives you a huge amount of satisfaction every day, that whatever you are doing good for the society, good for the environment, good for the people in the urban masses, because you are giving good products to them. And when so much of goodness comes in, I feel sustainability can't be left behind. And that's it. So, and definitely innovation is always there. We have into millet, we keep innovating every day. So in agriculture, it's very important that you keep innovating, you keep going beyond your marking point, you keep going beyond what people say, and keep improving. So that is the only thing. And not last but not the least, perseverance is the key to success. Date raho. It's important to be there, face the challenge and keep moving, think of the environment as a whole, and keep going, keep innovating. That's the only way, what I feel, how a sustainable startup in agri can be. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving detailed explanation of sustainability of agri startups, like starting from the basic definition of agri startups and types of agri startup, like how the agri startup has to be sustainable, like being inclusive, climate friendly, and how it should be health conscious and market adaptive. And also, thanks for sharing your experiences with working with the grassroots tribal women in the country. Thank you so much, ma'am. And this is definitely going to be an informative presentation. So the participants, if you have any questions, you can keep in chat box, or else you can directly ask the speaker. So the questions will be taken after the second speaker presentation. So to introduce our second speaker, let me call Pragya to introduce our second speaker.
Yes, Rahalya. So as we proceed, I will introduce our next speaker. She is Miss Neha Kapoor. She is the head of marketing and brand communications at Digital Innovations, and she is a seasoned brand and marketing professional with a proven track record of success across various industries, as she has delivered impactful results through innovative strategies and has a deep understanding of market dynamics. She has been a part of having leading roles at prominent companies, and she has orchestrated marketing campaigns, established strong brand identities, and forged strategic partnerships, significantly boosting revenue and engagements. She is passionate about sustainability. She has led projects aligning with sustainable development goals, and their software solution, Digital Green, adopted by Hindustan Zinc, manages 1 million tree plantations, highlighting their commitment to environmental initiatives. So I welcome you, ma'am, to our session, and you can go ahead with the session now, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Pragya, for introducing me. And thank you, Shamaji. It was a very detailed presentation. And as Shamaji has already told about the agriculture side, I'm going to tell about the management side of it. So let me quickly share my slides first. Yeah, you're able to see my slides, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we are talking about sustainability, and we are talking about offsetting the carbon footprints. So this becomes very important when the government is talking about that we have to reach a net zero carbon. We want to calculate that. Everyone in the plantation sector or the agriculture sector is doing the plantation, but the impact of that and calculation of that needs to be measured somewhere. And that is where DGTL comes in. So DGTL is a digital transformation company, okay? And we make softwares and applications for different requirements of the clients. Now, looking into the sustainability, we came up with our own product that is DGTL Green. And if I have to tell you about first DGTL, then we have started from 2017 and we have like 50 plus clientele here. I am Neha Kapoor. I'll give you a brief introduction about me. Already Pragya has talked about a lot of me. But I'm an entrepreneur with 14 plus years of experience in IT sector. And I bring to the market is sustainability and the chatbot integrations. Now I'm going to tell you about the Digital Green, which is the plantation management app. And right now I want to focus on why you actually need a plantation management app. So if you see that how much carbon every industry is emitting, or how much carbon every individual is using, I mean, how much the carbon footprint he has is way higher than the plantation that we are doing. A separate sector of the community is doing the plantation, whereas a separate sector of the community is emitting a lot of carbon. So to just nullify both the effect, the whatever carbon has been emitting has to be nullified with how much plantation we are doing. And in order to manage that, DGTL Green came in, and we wanted to give a transparent engagement between the people, the enterprises who are doing the plantation, and the reporting part of it, that where the carbon is actually going, where the carbon is actually offsetting. So for the efficient management, this platform has come into the existence. So I will quickly give you an idea how Digital Green works. So we have given here the thought process that there will be one user who will be initiating the plantation. Now, this could be a part of anybody's plantation goals, or it may not be. Here, what we are going to do is each individual who is initiating the plantation has to be given that credit that he has done the plantation. And that's the reason we have brought in a user who will register on the Plantation Green app, and he will initiate the plantation request. Once that request goes into the system, admin and the other project owners will approve the plantation request. Once these plantation requests are approved, it goes for the actual plantation to be done by the farmers. The state, and then these plantation, whatever the plantation is done, these updates are put back into the system, Digital Green. The continuous status is then regulated and monitored of each and every plant, and information is fed into this software. And then we have the dashboard and the reportings for it. Now, here's the catch is that how do you want to see the dashboards and the reports for it? Many companies with whom we have been talking to, they want to see a map where they see that this much red part was there, which where the carbon was emitted the maximum amount. Now, once we do the plantation, all those places where there was red marks, where there was a lot of carbon, has been replaced by the plantation. So the carbon offset has happened. Generally, there is a formula that a mature tree absorbs nearly 25 kgs of carbon per year. But the formulas are different for the mature tree and for the saplings. So I'm just giving you an idea that how we calculate that how much emission a company is making, or how much emission any places, any person or any activity of yours is doing in carbon emission, and how we are measuring the offset of it. One plant equals to 25 kg tons of it is taking up the carbon. So this is an approximate value and a generic value. I'm just giving you, for example, this is how the calculation happens, by which we do the offsetting, we calculate the offsetting of the carbon emission. So I'm giving you a quick glimpse of our app. This is the user dashboard. Once he logs into the computer, and then he can see the dashboard where all the plantation he has done, how much offset, the carbon offset he is doing. All the details of it comes on the application. Then I'm taking you to the admin dashboard, where you get the information about the entire plantation log, that who has raised what all plantation. Now the catch here is that if you are going to do millions of plantation, one by one request cannot be raised. So we have given the provision to upload the plantations request through an Excel file. These plantations could be separated on the basis of the species. As we all know that different species of plants absorb different amount of carbon. So it could be separated on the basis of species, and the complete offset can happen. Say, for example, industry is giving too much of carbon emission is happening. Then the plants which can absorb maximum number of carbon will be planted in those areas to nullify the carbon footprint. Now, these areas could be further divided into the locations and the areas we are doing. So every area is mapped on the basis of the latitude and the longitude of that place. And then we can see the exact plantation where it is happening. In fact, through the application, you can go and actually virtually visit your own plantation that you have made. This is not a real-time update, but then all the images of it is uploaded there. So you can see all the details of the plants that are planted on your name. Then you can see how much carbon sequestration is happening. These many plants have been planted. This is the carbon emission. So how much footprint is happening, we can see through the app. And then finally, what is the survival rate? The most important problem, or the most critical problem we have today, is that many companies, the government agencies, the individuals, everyone is doing plantation. That is true. But how much plants are surviving are the question. At the end of the day, if only 1% of the plantation has survived after you have done the entire plantation drive, then the carbon which you are thinking that the carbon footprint is happening is actually not happening. So the survival rate is what we are calculating through this app. And by the help of all the status and the images of the plantation that you have planted, you can actually feel that, yeah, this is the plantation offset I have created, and this is what I should be proud of. So, and there we have optimizations we have done on the dashboard. So this admin dashboard is the place where the actual work of the plantation digital green happens. We can see I'll take the questions a little later. We can see the dashboard and MIS, all the plantation related analytics we can see on the dashboards. These are real-time reports, and this can help you take actionable insights. Say, for example, when I told you that one of the requirement came to us requirement came to us where we had to, this was for an airport, where they wanted to tell us that a certain part of the road or certain side of the runway, there the carbon emission is very high as compared to the other part of the airport. Now, for us, it becomes a responsibility to do the plantation near to the runway. Obviously, we cannot cover the runway as the flight cannot take off, but we have to take the responsibility that around area where the carbon emission is high, there we need to do the plantation, which is low shrub, and it can absorb the maximum amount of the carbon. So by these, if you are able to see within the map that how much carbon emission is coming at this particular area, we can take the actionable insights from this, that how much plantation is required in this area or which species need to be planted here. We give a comprehensive MIS. This is a management information system where you can communicate with the admin, you can communicate with the user who has raised the request through the app itself. So we have two types of app. One is for the admin and the other one is for the farmers. The farmers can click the photograph of the plants and upload the photographs onto the system. And the admin can manage the entire system. Now, I want to just mention how you can minimize the effort required to monitor the plant growth status, because this is the biggest challenge in today's world, that how do you monitor it? So there are certain ways by which we can do the monitoring. We can do a satellite imagery. We can utilize the state-of-the-art satellite technology to continuously monitor the growth and health of the planted trees. Or we can use drone monitoring, by which drone can take continuous images of the plantation that is happening and then uploading it onto the system. We do have the on-ground reporting, like I already told you, that the farmers took the images of the photo of the plants, and then that got uploaded where we can do the on-ground reporting. And then we have the integrated dashboards. Within the dashboards, you can have a complete view of how much plantation I'm doing, how much carbon is being sequestered, how much plants are surviving, and what should be my next plan. What should be my next 10 years plan in order to offset this amount of carbon? Many companies are doing tons of carbon emission, but then everybody is going plantation phase by phase. So in the first phase, if I'm doing 1/10 of the offset of the carbon, then in the next coming years, how I can go and remove the carbon footprint. So this is a complete view you can see from the satellite imagery. If you can see where all the plantation is, and then you can go and focus on that. And you can have the idea of the drone monitoring. With the drone monitoring, you can also do the sowing of the seeds. But here we are just monitoring it. Both things are possible if we partner with the plantation one who is going to be helping us to do the plantation. And then you have the different ways of satellite growth measurements you can do. The canopy cover is there, biomass estimation, early warning systems, and the long-term trends. So this is all about my system that I've been talking about, Digital Green. Now, in order to take the initiative that all this, we have given the help of giving the status updates to the plantation which is happening. And you can see the different statuses that you can see do on the plantation. Now, DGTL Green, as a DGTL Green, we are taking the initiative of combining and bringing the people together to do the, connect with each other on WhatsApp, so that we can connect with the sustainability leaders and we can bring the changes together. An individual cannot do everything. So there need to be a combined effort. Everyone has to take the steps. You, me, and the government itself. Everybody is taking the steps. Why not collaborate together? And then you can make a real difference. So I have made this group of WhatsApp community, I would request if all the people who wants to join this sustainability group can scan this QR code and join our WhatsApp group where we are talking about how we can bring a change together. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for a very informative presentation. You have talked about completely elevating the sustainability by unlocking the power of plantations. You have talked about the digital green app, how it works and its applications. And you also talked about how to monitor the plant growth by satellite imagery and drone monitoring. And definitely we are going to join your WhatsApp group also, and we'll definitely connect with the sustainable leaders. So participants, if you have any questions, you can keep in chat box or you can raise your hand. So I can already see few questions. So there is a question for Neha Kapoor ma'am. So they're asking whether if your app can help in measurement of crops like paddy under submerged conditions.
So that we will have to see onto the plantation things that what all we can do. We can definitely connect with the technical team and the agriculture team where we can find out that what all we can do and we can do the monitoring of it or not. So we can take this question offline.
Yes, ma'am. And there is a question to Shamja ma'am. One of the participant is asking whether you have training center for startups on online and offline. You are not audible, ma'am. Kindly unmute.
Yeah. What was the question? Can you repeat it?
You have training center for startups online or offline, they're asking.
Training centers, no, we are doing rural startup training center, some training activities in who are the rural people in and around our area. But otherwise, we have not done anything for the general startups as such. But yes, for any query, any concerns, we are always there. If there is anything they want to know or they want to understand, we are there to help them out.
And there is one more question from our participant. This question is to Shamja ma'am. They are asking how do we claim health aspect in our product if we add additives that are generally understood as not healthy?
A very good question, but we need to understand what are the additives that you are adding. So right now the additives can be completely chemical based, can be plant based also. So you have right now when we make millet based products, first and foremost you have to understand the importance of the products that you are using it, because every product at some level or the other has their own shelf lives also. So first we need to work on how the shelf lives or the integrated products can be used. Second level, packaging plays a very important role in what you are doing. So what kind of packaging you are doing, that also enhances the shelf life. Third is, if need be, because especially for us also when we go for the international exports and all, we need a 9 to 12 months of shelf life. So there now we use plant-based the additives which can enhance the shelf life, but we make it a point that whatever we are using very much on the card so that people can understand and use the products accordingly. But what I want to add over here is that whatever you are using at whatever we use right now is something which is much healthier than what generally people in the food businesses are using to make their product very much cost effective, slightly lesser the marks of the normal norms of food items jitne mein aap khareed rahe ho usse bhi kam mein bech rahe ho, that itself shows that what you are doing it. So we should be always very categoric in defining your product and what you are using in it. So I think that should help. Healthy products can be made. Processed food can also be made.
Thank you, ma'am. Ravi, I think you got the answer. And there is a question from Qazi Abul. I think this question is to Neha Kapoor, ma'am. So he's asking how carbon credit is you're actually calculating.
So as I already told, that the generic formula that we are using is one mature tree is absorbing 25 kgs of carbon. But definitely there is a formula for that which depends on how what is the height of the tree, what is the width of the tree, and what is the age of the tree. On these, there's a formula which is formulated, which gives us an idea that how much carbon is being absorbed by this particular plant.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. And there is a one question from Rupesh. He is asking, rice paddy is a significant source of methane emissions. What innovative methods can be employed to reduce that without compromising the yield? So I think either of them can take this question.
I am not the expert into this, so I will not.
See, this is completely an agriculture-based, what agriculture scientists or the people who are directly into agriculture can say. I'm also not directly into agriculture farming. I aid them. So I think this is something they have to take it up with the researchers.
Thank you, ma'am. And the same question, they're asking how Indian farmers can adopt agriculture practices to mitigate the impact of climate change.
See, agriculture farmers will never want to move from whatever they are doing. As an agri-startups, people who are getting into it, they have to build up I told it in the initial slides only, that you have to come up, you have to go to them, create an inclusive atmosphere and make them understand why such kind of things are needed. So if we talk about farmers, there are very less farmers. If you see in our northern India or the southern India, there are farmers who have already taken such kind of initiatives. But otherwise, by and large, farmers are very, very scared to change. We have to go create an inclusive atmosphere, make them understand this is important, then only things will happen.
Thank you, ma'am. And there is one more question from participant Srilata. She's asking what is the difference between agri-startups and entrepreneurship and agribusiness management? So how it will affect the farmers?
See, business management is something where you are not doing something, you are making agri-startups manage their businesses. So this is also a good thing, especially for FPOs and all. Nowadays, the FPO which is being made, they are not that much equipped with good business management systems and skills. So if you are an agribusiness management institute, it can help them to enhance and increase their skill in managing their business. And but as an agri startup, you are doing directly something with the agriculture product and going into the market. So like as we call it, we are agri entrepreneurs or agri startups. But I am also an agribusiness management institute, because we are also having a complete system where we are helping handholding the FPOs to manage their businesses. So these are the two different things.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So that's all about questions. And I have one personal question to Neha Kapoor, ma'am. So you have talked about this digital green app, right, ma'am? So may I know whether is how many languages it is you are still applicable, or how many Indian languages it is available?
Currently, it is available in English only.
English only. Okay.
Yeah. If there is a requirement, we can develop the multilingual. We do have the capabilities to create that.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So my director, Dr. Sarunan sir, also joined. So
thank you, madam. Thank you for both of you. It is nice presentation. Thank you very much for joining today. It's a good.
So I think that's all about today's questions. So participants, still, if you have any questions, you can directly contact with the speakers. The speaker details are already shared in the chat box. And also do not forget to give the feedback of this current webinar, and do not forget to register for the upcoming webinar. And also we have an exciting update from our side. Like this year, we have opened the pre-incubation mentoring applications are open. So the entrepreneurs or startups who wants foundation support, so you can register for it. So it is actually 22 days online program. So you can follow up through our managed website, and also do not forget to follow us on social media handles. And so before concluding, I would like to thank both the speakers for their wonderful presentation, and I would like to thank my director and my team and all the participants. So see you next week with one more topic.
Thank you so much for giving us the opportunities to show that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.